Today, we will examine a case that occurred in Minnesota in 2013. Kyra Steger, a 30-year-old store clerk at a clothing outlet in the Mall of America, was known for her dedication to her job, never missing a shift. Therefore, when she failed to report for work on February 23, 2013, her colleagues became concerned. They attempted to reach her through calls and text messages, but she did not respond, prompting them to notify the police about her disappearance. Kyra Steger was born on November 19, 1982, in Des Plaines, Illinois, to Marcy and Jay Steger, who described her as a vibrant, devoted, and kind daughter. Employed at the Mall of America, she worked for two stores, Wet Seal and, more recently, Delia's. Her co-workers were not only close friends but also regarded as family by Kyra. She had a remarkable ability to identify the strengths in others that they often overlooked and envisioned a bright and promising future. Tragically, all her aspirations were abruptly shattered when she mysteriously disappeared. On Thursday, February 21, 2013, Kyra had a scheduled shift at work. Her colleagues noted that she was in good spirits and had plans to dine at a nice restaurant with her husband after closing. Kyra and Jeffrey Trevino had met 3 years prior, and their connection was immediate, leading to a romantic relationship that culminated in marriage. Generally, Kyra and Jeffrey appeared to be a happy and stable couple, with any disagreements remaining private and within their close circle. Relatives, friends, and co-workers were unaware of Kyra's situation until at least 2 days later, on Saturday, February 23 road. When Kyra failed to arrive at work, her colleagues expressed concern, as this behavior was uncharacteristic of her. Kyra was known for her punctuality, strict adherence to her schedule, and intolerance for tardiness. After attempts to contact Kyra proved unsuccessful, her co-workers reached out to Jeffrey, who was equally in the dark regarding her whereabouts. According to Jeffrey, Kyra had left their home the previous morning and had not returned since. He did not initially perceive this as alarming, as Kyra occasionally took spontaneous trips to visit friends or relatives without prior notice. However, the inclement weather that day, marked by heavy snowfall, raised some concerns. Jeffrey speculated that she might have encountered difficulties while driving, such as getting stuck or having her cell phone battery die. After receiving no updates about Kyra, Jeffrey decided to file a missing persons report and contacted her family. Her relatives were taken aback by the sudden and unexplained absence of Kyra, which was a significant shock to them. Following the filing of the report for Kyra Steger, detectives promptly initiated their investigation, which typically begins with interviewing the spouse and examining the immediate vicinity. In this instance, detectives visited Jeffrey's home to gather information. He informed them that on Thursday, he and Kyra had been planning to spend quality time together. They dined together, engaged in conversation, played bowling, and ultimately departed from the mall. According to Jeffrey, he and Kyra went directly home, as Kyra planned to watch a movie. Jeffrey also informed the detectives that his wife left their residence the following day, which was a Friday, at approximately 8:30 a.m. She had a work-related event that required her mandatory attendance. He noted that she was behaving normally, and he did not observe anything unusual. Jeffrey considered it typical for Kyra to occasionally be unaccounted for, even though he was unaware of her whereabouts or whom she might be with. He acknowledged that they had been experiencing some relationship difficulties for a few months, however, he did not perceive these issues as serious or concerning, viewing them as minor disputes common in all families. The detectives inquired about potential individuals Kyra might be staying with and whether she could have a romantic partner. Jeffrey dismissed this notion, stating that he had directly asked Kyra about it and received a negative reply. He expressed his deep love and trust for his wife. The investigators relayed all the information they gathered regarding Kyra and her vehicle to the on-duty patrols. They then proceeded to the Mall of America to verify the accuracy of Jeffrey's statements and to search for potential clues. The Mall of America, one of the largest shopping centers globally, is located in Bloomington and boasts 520 stores, theme parks, an oceanarium, movie theaters, a golf course, and more, making it unsurprising that the mall is equipped with numerous security cameras. The detectives, aware of the time Kira had left work on February 21 st, reviewed the surveillance footage, which revealed nothing unusual. Jeffrey's statement was corroborated. He had met Kira after her shift, and they spent some time at the mall before heading to the parking lot and driving away together. There were no signs of any disputes, and the evening seemed to have proceeded without incident. However, the uncertainty of Kira's situation weighed heavily on her family, as each passing day intensified their anxiety regarding her safety. In light of the lack of information and their growing concern, Kira's family traveled to Bloomington to assist in the investigation. They printed flyers featuring her image, which they posted on poles and distributed to pedestrians, aiming to raise awareness and garner support in the search for Kira. They understood that inaction was not an option. They needed to take proactive steps to locate their missing loved one. While Kira's family was engaged in this outreach, the investigators continued their work. During interviews with the couple's neighbors, officers discovered a surveillance camera on one neighbor's property. This camera had the capability to rotate and had captured footage of Kira and Jeffrey's residence. Consequently, the investigators requested the homeowner to provide them with a copy of the footage, hoping it would yield valuable clues. Meanwhile, records from a cell phone company arrived, offering the investigators a promising new lead based on Kira's phone activity. Ryan Wendt, the manager of the same store chain where Kira was employed, emerged as another significant figure in her life apart from Jeffrey. Their relationship was characterized by intensity and duration, with frequent correspondence between them. During the ongoing search for Kira, law enforcement discovered that Ryan was out of state, traveling towards Colorado. His involvement was crucial to the investigation, as he not only shared a romantic connection with Kira but also left the state around the time of her disappearance. This could have been a mere coincidence, or it might suggest deeper implications that warranted further scrutiny. Investigators were tasked with uncovering the truth behind this situation. Detectives successfully contacted Ryan, who agreed to be questioned in Colorado. During the interrogation, he revealed that he last communicated with Kira while driving through South Dakota, exchanging text messages shortly before her disappearance. The timing of these messages indicated that Kira was in contact with Ryan while dining with her husband, suggesting a growing emotional distance from Jeffrey. To establish Ryan's whereabouts, investigators analyzed his phone records in relation to cell tower data and reviewed his credit card transactions, confirming that he was indeed out of state that evening and had no means of being present at the time of Kira's disappearance. Following his connection to Kira's disappearance, he was released and removed from the list of suspects. The timestamps of the messages indicated that Kira continued to text Ryan even after arriving home with her husband. However, their communication ceased after 11:44 p.m., and Kira's phone has been inactive since that time. Meanwhile, another team of investigators was preparing to analyze the video footage from the surveillance camera located at Kira's neighbor's house. This camera captured a significant portion of the street, but its rapid rotation made it challenging to observe any specific details. If investigators identified something suspicious, the camera would quickly pivot to the opposite side. Jeffrey and Kira's residence was visible for only a few fleeting seconds as the camera turned to the right. Jeffrey reported that after having dinner and bowling, he and Kira returned home, watched a movie, and went to bed. However, upon reviewing the video footage, investigators noted that shortly after 2 a.m., Kira's car reversed into the yard. Due to the poor quality of the footage and the camera's constant lateral movement, it was difficult to ascertain the exact events occurring at that moment, but the car soon departed from the vicinity of their home. Jeffrey explained that Kira had asked him to refuel her car in preparation for her commute the following day, prompting him to visit the gas station. Interestingly, his account was corroborated, as he was indeed seen at the gas station around 3:30 a.m. However, the detectives uncovered that after this point. Upon departing from the gas station, he did not return home. Instead, he inexplicably headed towards the highway. The destination of his journey remains uncertain. The neighbor's surveillance camera failed to capture his return, which could be attributed to its continuous rotation, allowing for the possibility that Jeffrey may have arrived home later in the day when the camera was oriented in a different direction. Further examination of the footage revealed that Kira's Chevrolet departed at 9:21 a.m. Unfortunately, the footage did not provide clarity regarding the identity of the driver. A missing person report was submitted to the police on Saturday, February 23 RD, and on Monday, February 25 TH, authorities received a call concerning a suspicious vehicle located near the shopping center where Kira worked. Security personnel at the two multi-story parking lots observed a particular car that had been parked for several days and requested a tow. Before the tow truck driver removed the vehicle, he inspected it and noticed unusual red smudges on the trunk lid, prompting him to contact the police. This vehicle was identified as Kira's white Chevrolet. Although the blood evidence was minimal, consisting of only a few small stains, it was nonetheless a troubling indication. Additionally, Kira's purse, found in the abandoned car, contained divorce court documents that appeared to have been downloaded from the internet. Investigators also noticed a small dark object in the snow behind the vehicle. Upon closer inspection, it was identified as a rolled-up trunk mat with dark stains. DNA testing on the reverse side revealed that the blood belonged to Kira Steger. With a heavy heart, investigators began to accept the grim reality that Kira was likely no longer alive. This devastating revelation struck her family and friends with profound sorrow, extinguishing their last hope of seeing her again. However, this discovery also sparked a multitude of questions. How did she die? Did she endure suffering? Who could harbor such resentment to take her life? The absence of Kira's body only intensified their grief, making it even more challenging to cope with the tragedy they faced. The detectives' primary focus shifted to identifying the individual who had abandoned the vehicle in the parking lot. The car had departed from the residence at 9:21 a.m. and approximately 20 minutes later, it was captured on the mall's surveillance cameras. Although there were no cameras in the lot where the vehicle was found, one was positioned to monitor the path leading to it, located near Kira's car. Upon reviewing the footage, detectives observed that shortly after the white Chevrolet entered the parking area, a man wearing a hood appeared on the screen. Given the chilly weather, his attire did not raise any suspicions, but the detectives were keen to trace his movements. The footage showed the hooded man crossing the street to a taxi stand, where he engaged in a brief conversation with one of the drivers before entering a cab and departing. The police were able to ascertain which taxi company operated in the shopping center's parking lot. Based on the timing of the hooded man's interaction with the driver, they successfully identified the license plate of that specific vehicle. All taxis were equipped with GPS tracking devices, which indicated that the hooded man concluded his ride just a block away from Kira and Jeffrey's residence, exiting the cab after paying in cash. As the taxi left the neighborhood, it was captured by the same camera that had partially recorded Kira's vehicle. The low resolution of the footage hindered clear visibility of the man's face. However, the prominent white logo on his hoodie stood out. As investigators continued to analyze the footage, they observed the hooded individual entering the residence shared by Kira and Jeffrey. Given Kira's disappearance, it became increasingly likely that the hooded figure was Jeffrey. After obtaining a search warrant, law enforcement officials proceeded to the house. At first glance, it appeared to be an ordinary, unremarkable dwelling, but a closer inspection revealed troubling signs. Criminalists discovered dark red stains in the couple's bedroom, with several marks on the wall beside the bed and approximately 100 on the mattress. It was evident that the bedroom had been recently rearranged and cleaned. When the forensics team applied luminol, the carpet glowed, revealing numerous blood stains invisible to the naked eye. These stains were traced back to the bedroom and extended throughout the house. Forensic analysis confirmed that the blood belonged to Kira, further solidifying the investigators' belief that she was no longer alive. In addition to searching the interior of the house, police examined Jeffrey's vehicle. Although no blood or signs of a struggle were found within the car, they did uncover a significant piece of evidence, a gas station receipt dated an hour and 40 minutes prior to the time Kira's car was abandoned in the mall parking lot. The receipt indicated that the purchase had been made using Jeffrey's credit card. Detectives proceeded to the gas station to examine the security footage. The recording showed Jeffrey filling his vehicle and subsequently entering the establishment to withdraw cash from an ATM. This footage provided a clear view of Jeffrey's face and revealed a logo on his jacket's chest area, which resembled the logo seen on the individual in the earlier footage. Based on this recording and the evidence collected from his residence, 39-year-old Jeffrey Trevino was arrested and taken to the station for interrogation, becoming the primary and sole suspect in the case. During the interrogation, Jeffrey contacted his attorney, who advised him to invoke his right to remain silent. Although the police possessed enough evidence to charge him, the most incriminating evidence of his culpability would be the discovery of a body. There was a consensus that Kira was deceased. The police, along with Kira's family and several volunteers, dedicated months to searching for her. In late March, as the snow began to melt, volunteers found a suspicious bag by the roadside near Keller Lake, a few miles from Trevino's residence, and alerted the authorities. The bag contained a blood-stained pillow, a shirt, and a bra, and forensic analysis confirmed the presence of Kira's DNA on these items. The lake remained partially frozen, complicating the search efforts. However, divers conducted surveys of the water but found no remains. The surrounding area was searched multiple times with the assistance of 4 specially trained search dogs, yet these efforts yielded no results. 2.5 months after Kira's disappearance, on May 8, 2013, the St. Paul Police Department received a troubling call from a male caller who reported seeing what appeared to be a deceased individual in the Mississippi River. Upon investigation, police officers confirmed that the object recovered from the water was indeed a body. The remains were found without clothing, and dental records later identified the victim as Kira Steger. She had sustained significant blunt force trauma to her forehead and a fractured index finger on her left hand. Due to the advanced state of decomposition, the medical examiners were unable to determine a precise cause of death. In light of the new evidence, investigators endeavored to reconstruct the sequence of events leading to Kira's death and the subsequent actions taken. They theorized that upon returning home, Jeffrey became aware of Kira's text messages with another individual. When Kira refused to disclose the contents of her messages, Jeffrey allegedly forcefully seized her phone, resulting in her finger being broken. Following this confrontation, Jeffrey's anger escalated upon discovering the romantic exchanges, ultimately leading him to take Kira's life. He then attempted to cover up the crime by placing her body in the trunk of her car and driving to a gas station before disposing of the remains in the river. Afterward, he returned home, discarding a bag containing Kira's pillow and clothing along the way. The following morning, he withdrew cash from an ATM at a gas station, anticipating the need to pay for a taxi after abandoning Kira's car in the mall parking lot, preferring to use cash for the transaction. After disposing of Kira's vehicle, Jeffrey returned home and spent the remainder of the day cleaning the house. Through his deceitful actions, he aimed to create the illusion that Kira had left in her car that morning and was in good health. However, his scheme was thwarted by surveillance cameras. In October 2013, a jury found 39-year-old Jeffrey Trevino guilty, agreeing with the defense that his actions were not premeditated but rather the result of a heated and impulsive argument triggered by the revelation of his wife's infidelity. Prior to the judge announcing the sentence, Kira's family members expressed their sentiments. "This monster is a calculated criminal," stated Carrie and Steger, Kira's sister, emphasizing that he deserves no leniency. Kira's mother, Marcy, remarked that Trevino showed her daughter no compassion, likening the way he discarded her to trash in one of the nation's most polluted bodies of water. Meanwhile, her father, Jay, expressed that no punishment could ever compensate for the suffering Trevino inflicted on their family, asserting that no matter the duration of the sentence, it would never be sufficient. In November 2013, Jeffrey Trevino was sentenced to 27.5 years in prison, with the possibility of parole in 2031.